I'm very happy to present the next lineup. We will have some startup pitches from this region, and those are companies that we have the pleasure of working with every day, and they contribute in different ways to making our society a better place. So we will have 3 short startup pitches to begin with, and then we will have a panel discussions with the 3 representatives. So first up on stage is Kristofer Szymanski from Skymaker. Give him a hand.
Oh, thank you very much.
Please help yourself. I'll leave the stage for you.
Oh, thank you. Hello, guys. Lovely talks this morning. I loved going into the ethics and philosophical parts of it, and describing innovation as a vector is really, really clever as well, I think. I'm going to talk about a slightly narrower span here. At Skymaker, we believe that customized product should be for everybody, and that manufacturing should be flexible, local, and fully automated. My name is Kristofer, as Lena introduced here. I'm the CEO and founder of Skymaker, and our everyday mission at the company is to make mass customization a reality in Europe. And if we look back, we've seen quite a few technological changes for the last 200 years, and they've all been quite technologically driven, making a lot of things change in our businesses and factories. Starting with the steam engine back in the 1850s, really transformed how we did stuff. We had the electrification in the beginning of the 1900s, who also changed everything yet again. And modern automation, as we know it today, comes from technology breakthroughs in the 80s and the 90s. And this is what we have around us today. But now, I think we're entering into a new era of manufacturing and how the industry works. It's still hard to see exactly how this will play out and affect us in the long run. But I think that the flexibility of these new machines that are coming to the market is going to have a huge impact on how we produce and consume goods and services all around the world. And one big aspect of this, if it's flexible, customized products, we need to tackle in a different way. So if you take, for example, a customized product like the chair to the right here, in history, it's always been a luxury product to have customized products. You have an extra zero on the price tag, and it's not for everybody. And what we have done with the automation of the 90s has come quite far in providing somewhat customized solutions, but not all the way. And we've used modularization to handle that strategy. But now, with flexible machines on the market, you can have the same manufacturing cost for a modularized product as a customized product. And if we dive deeper into this, the main reason for that extra zero on the price tag in the past is partly because of all the rigid manufacturing methods of the past, but also because of all the manual labor required for producing customized orders. Sales, R&D, production is involved in every single quote and order when we do customized. That's why it's so expensive here in Sweden. But now, when we have the flexible manufacturing, we have an opportunity to automate this all the way. And this is what we do at Skymaker. We automate all the way from the end customer to the manufacturing machines. And we do this by publishing dynamic tools in the e-commerce and online, tools that are accessible, they're easy to use, and they contain all the dynamic rules for products that should be customized. And then these tools will auto-generate all the manufacturing files for every quote and order, sending them directly to manufacturing. And if you start doing it in this way, suddenly we have on-demand manufacturing instead of mass manufacturing to stock. And what will happen then is that every order will be on-demand manufactured, and you actually benefit from producing locally, because with just-in-time delivery, you want to have a short distance to the customer, making it much more lucrative to have this local production in Europe again, to bring custom to everybody. And we have solved this by developing a platform called the Dynamaker, the Dynamic Product Maker, that is used for bundling all these tools in the cloud and handling the development. And this contains rules for CAD, how to use code, how to use 3D visualization in a standardized way to solve this customization problem. And it's all available on the homepage dynamaker.com for the entire Europe to actually start working with today. And since it's flexible machines are entering almost all parts of industry today, the applications can range from tool and die, machine guards, modular walls, to 3D printed robotic fingers for collaborative robots. It's a huge span of how we can start thinking in this dynamic way with our products and services. The team behind this is on the other side of the road here. We are all engineers, and we have developed this cloud service and the mathematics behind it, but we also developed the methods and the tools and the know-how for how to implement this in the industry, because it's a lot of work to actually get this up and running with business transformation and finding all these dynamic rules. And we also provide the training and support for supporting the European industry right now, how to work with this on a wide scale so we actually get the change that we want to have. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our most successful customer. They do mesh walls here in Värnamo in Sweden and called Garantell. It's a Swedish-based family company who have totally embraced digital transformation and mass customization in the last 4 years. They were awarded as Sweden's smartest industry this year by Royal Academy of Engineering Sciences. And they have totally transformed their whole factory and is producing only custom today. They have built a modern B2B e-commerce because they invested in a lot of flexible machinery 5 years ago. And now they have a B2B e-commerce that their customers can go into. And into that e-commerce, we've plugged in dynamic tools on the Dynamaker for every product family, enabling their customer to do the work and customization of the products. And everything is automated all the way down to the factory floors and the machines. And by doing this, we auto-generate all manufacturing files for every single quote and order in the entire factory. And this enables both dynamic pricing, just-in-time delivery, and all these type of flexible aspects because we use the digital tools to work for us. And a cool aspect of this is they've stopped having finished products in stock since last year. They've gone from a few hundred wall module types in stock to producing over 1 billion articles on demand. So they've had quite a tremendous journey implementing these type of tools, starting with the flexible machines in 2014, launching the e-commerce, and step-by-step implementing dynamic tool after one another, continuously growing throughout this and making money, because it's such a big leverage on automation when you implement it right. So what I would like you to bring with you today is the machines are already here to handle this. The tools are already here to handle this. It's just a matter of getting this stuff up and running in the factories of Europe and enabling mass customization on a wild scale. Thank you very much.
Kristofer, and it's so exciting to hear about this. What will be the next step for Skymaker in the future?
We were at the Hanover Fair here a few weeks ago and releasing this to the German market as a first step. And we see it's the same machines all over. It's the same type of manufacturing. And we would like to find these partners and ambassadors who like what we do, who think like we do, and start implementing it in their factories. So we actually have a community model of the entire platform available if you want to get started fast and or just want to experiment. So I think we have a really clever way to get this out into Europe.
Wonderful. And I know that a lot of areas of innovation here today that work with advanced manufacturing, so maybe you could some connections and
Love
continue the discussion. Thank you so much. And of course, give him a hand. From smart industry to the area of visualization, and please welcome up on stage Louise Lennersten of Interspectral.
Thank you very much. Now, there it is. Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. Is everybody having a good time? Yes. So far, happy to hear that. Okay, so I come from a company called Interspectral, and what we do is that we transform complex 3D data into engaging experiences for anyone to interact with. Sounds very easy, doesn't it? Even more simplified, explained, what we do is that we develop digital twins of 3D data for anybody that wants to interact or play around or explore the data. And we do this in our tool that is called Inside Explorer. I'm going to present a few customer cases to you where we've made great impact and had great value to our customers, but I want to start with presenting my team. So this is the fantastic team that I work with. 4 of the people here are founders and are still in the company, and another 4 are external. What we do is that we work specialized within our different areas. So we span from development, we span from user interface, user experience, business development, programming, and me, myself, I come from a background within human resources. And about the company then. Well, we have gone from a research product to a successful international company in only 4 years' time. We're bootstrapped, which means that we have not taken in any external financing yet. We were founded in 2015, and we're based in Linköping. And we have a very close connection and a background that comes all the way back to Linköping University and to research and scientists there. We have a very close and tight connection with Visualization Center in Linköping, and also with the University Hospital here in Linköping. We have more than 70 customers in more than 30 countries and millions of users every year. And we have an existing data library of hundreds of data sets, which is fantastic, and we are very unique in that way that we don't have, nobody else has as many data sets that are cross-scientific as we have. And we also work with a lot of high-profile customers. For example, Siemens and ABB that are here today. So this is Inside Explorer. This is our core and our product. What we do is that we gather 3D data from multiple resources, such as CT scanning, MRI, we work with laser techniques, photogrammetry, sensoring, geodata, well, you name it. Anything that you can build a 3D model on. And we take it into Inside Explorer, we process it, and then we present it in the viewer. I have the viewer here with me today, if you want to have a look later on. And it's in the last view here that the user can interact and work around with the data. So I want to present 3 different customer cases to you. To start with, science communication. This is also something that is very tightly connected to museums. And when you think of museums, you don't really think that that is a pioneering business when it comes to this kind of technique, do you? But this is a way of working. This is a mummy. So once you break open the wrapping of a mummy in real life, you actually destroy parts of the value of the historical artifact. So this is one way of creating value, is that we can, by scanning the mummy, we can look inside and we can see exactly what the mummy looks like, all the way down to the skeleton. We've even had a dentist, a mummy dentist, that has explored and done research on this guy's teeth, which gives us opportunities to learn more about ancient history than we've had before. This man is Nesvayu. He is in the Mediterranean Museum in Stockholm, in a glass monter, in his wrapping, and you can see all the coffins and everything there, but we can present this in an interactive solution. So this is one way. And I also spoke to an archaeologist in Germany saying that, well, we have a 5-year queue and we have a vault in the basement of the National History Museum in Berlin. And there is a 5-year queue of taking out the artifacts and explore them because we don't have time. And we have no idea how to prioritize in this. So we take someone out, we work on that, but there might be someone else there that is much more valuable to work with. This could be a way of getting around that, work around that, and have them do prioritization and come closer to more science and research. Education. I know it's really bad to show a film and talk, but I'm going to do it again. This is a frog that we have developed together with the University of Florida. Only in the US today, they dissect 10 million animals. 10 million animals. Imagine what we can do if we don't dissect those animals. What would that do or be for the biological diversity? So this is an experiment to see if we can actually help them out by dissecting virtually instead of doing it in real life. And now we can talk about sustainable ways of learning. This is something you can do over and over and over and over again. So this is one way within education that we can work with it. Third, industry. Siemens is one of our high-profile customers, and we work together with Siemens in developing a tool that can help them in their additive manufacturing or 3D printing they work with. But I also want to present another customer. I'm not going to mention the name of it, but let's pretend this product is very important to our society. And it is in so many places in our society. So the specific customer develops this. And they they developed it, manufactured it, sent it to us so we could scan it. We scanned it together with our partners, we analyzed it, and we presented it to the customer. Once it was in the tool, and we sat down together, and we peeled off layer by layer, the customer realized that, okay, when we came down to layer 72, there is something wrong in that part of the production. The temperature is too high. Only by lowering that temperature, we could actually increase the quality of the product. So, today, that specific customer had a life length of this product of 20 years. But with a new discovery that we helped them out with, by using our tool, they could guarantee a life length of 35 years. And this is a component that is very important to our societies today, which means also back again to sustainable ways of working. What if we did not have to do maintenance work or exchange things every 20 years, but every 35th instead? That would be a fantastic way of working around this. And they said that, wow, you've revolutionized our business. That's exactly what a small company from Norrköping wants to hear. So the impact of digital twins, well, it spans from so many different areas. As I mentioned, manufacturing industry, the quality assurance, the cultural heritage, architecture and construction, well, even when it comes to civil engineering and society planning, we can help out because we can work with geodata. Healthcare, virtual autopsies and training. So what if you end up in a hospital and you have to go through a surgery? Would you not be more comfortable if you knew that the surgeon had actually performed virtual surgery on your specific body 20 times before he or she entered the operation? And then we can include a lot of new techniques, such as VR, augmented reality, and so on. So there is so much more we can do here, but that is one way of working with this as well. And education. We do 3 different kinds of projects, I would say. For education, we pack and standardize the data sets so that you can use them for education and training. The data we get from our other customers where we do specific projects, such as industry is one, if we can use that data. Otherwise, museums and science communication. So the mummy case, or the frogs, and there are so many other cases as well, that are very, very useful when it comes to presenting digital means to schools all around the world within natural sciences. The future. I know that many of you locally know us mostly for this. Traditionally, we are presented on large touch tables, 4K, 55 inches touch tables, but this is only one way of presenting Inside Explorer. It's very commonly used when it comes to museums and when it comes to education centers as well, but this is what we can do today. So we can present Inside Explorer on any kind of platform for any kind of purpose, which allows us to scale up a lot more and to enter new businesses internationally and nationally as well. Sweden is a very small market to us today, but hopefully we will gain more customers here. But this is one way that we are headed in the future, and we can present it already today. I will stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Louise. Amazing technology, and there's so many ways of using it. So in another 4 years, where do you expect Interspectral to be then?
We are so big that no. I think that we have gained a lot more presence in Asia in 4 years. I also believe that we have at least one office in the States because we do have so many customers there today. So beside the expansion in Europe and more locally, I believe that those two markets are going to grow tremendously much for us.
Wonderful. I look forward to following your journey, and thank you so much. A big hand.
Thank you.
And moving from visualization to another form of visualization with augmented reality, and welcome up on stage Marcin Szymanski from XM Reality.
So my name is Marcin Szymanski. I'm the CSO at XM Reality. And what we do in XM Reality is try to empower people to create new revenue streams through AR-based remote guidance. And it's all about creating an alternative way of performing your type of services, jobs out there without having to travel or impact the environment in different ways. So what we focus on a lot is supporting the stream of digitalization, servitization, workplace transformation, and globalization by creating a solution which everybody can use anywhere, regardless if it's an expert and professional working at a help desk inside, or let it be a consumer needing help putting together their furniture, or right down to design or designing factories, working with smart glasses, smart hardware, alternatively. Through this, we try to really create new sustainable revenue streams by pushing our customers to look beyond the ordinary way of work, where you had technicians traveling around the world, or you send out people to support others anywhere. And instead of finding new setups where we maybe set up a professional help desk with professionals inside who can use our remote guidance solution to guide people as they were there. And I'm going to show this directly, so we're going to take a chance here, do a live demo for you and see if it works. It works quite simply. We generate a link which we send to anybody out there. That's one way, which means that we can reach anybody in the world that needs help without forcing them to download an application, to sign up for anything, and they will still be able to get AR-supported guidance anywhere. Or you download the app, log in there if you have a license, and then you get the full functionality. But the main thing here is that we try to create a solution that is totally hardware independent, which means it works on any device out there, regardless if you have an Apple, if you have an Android, if you use Microsoft, we will work on that as well as web browsers. That also means that we don't need AR-kit phones or setups. You can use those on an old Samsung S5, S4, and it will still work perfectly. And that's one of the main things that we've developed that really pushes our product out there for scalability and accessibility as well as simplicity. We don't need to force companies, people to invest in specific hardware to use this. So from here, I'm just going to set a link. And as any good cook, I've prepared. Now it is. So perfect. So from here, I can guide anybody as I want with my hands. I can use annotation as well, and since we have a connectivity problem, typically. So I can use my hand to guide anybody anywhere in the world. Hands, spare parts, I can use annotations, drawings, and so on. So I'm freely to instruct. I can integrate IoT data, documents, anything to this. Now this could be used through a point pad or phone to phone, tablets, anything. So anywhere we are where we have a connection, we can use this type of functionality to instruct people. Now, looking to our customers, we use this to enhance our customers' servitization, mainly right now, working with some of the largest brands in the world. rolling out thousands of users out there trying to help their customers how to secure and repair issues in the market. Working mainly with the larger brands, we have all the some of our main customers here, like Saab, Siemens, and ABB. We've seen that we can impact the full process of how to interact in service with a customer today. So either we do it directly or indirectly. We've seen that we can impact each stage we have in communication with the specific customers out there. Looking towards ABB, we've rolled out about 18 countries right now with ABB, working with our solution broadly, trying to resell our solution as a part of their SLAs, of their service offering, giving them a competitive chance towards their competitors out there, securing a new type of revenue stream, which also opens up for discussions. Okay, do we really need an offering where technicians are on site? Or can we use a local expertise and support those through our professionals back office? Not sending anybody out there to maintain a robot or anything like that. We do the same with Siemens here in Finspång, but also other Siemens corporations, where we focus a lot on the offshore market, boosting technical supports. So looking for our solution, it's built to simply and accessibly create a remote guidance session with anybody out there with regard to any issue out there, not having to push anybody to travel or even uphold higher output streams. And just some business cases, some numbers from our customers, which I think are quite interesting the last year. 30% increase on Net Promoter Scores, that's quite a lot. We're working with some of the highest rated Net Promoter Score companies out there today. Unfortunately, I can't mention their name, we're not allowed. But we also have one big major outdoor power equipment manufacturer from Sweden. I'm not going to tell you who that is. But I think the last year proven really that this is a solution that really works. These are their official numbers: 20 to 25% server level enhancement on a multi-billion-dollar company. That's a lot during a year. And reduced time for equipment repair by 70%. Now, anybody with the basic knowledge of mathematics in a billion-dollar company can count that that's really a lot. And that proves that the technology is here now. It works now. You can use it anywhere, anytime. Unfortunately, I had some Wi-Fi problems in here, but it works perfectly with 4G and so on. Yep. So, thank you.
Thank you. So it's a good thing seeing those numbers and the feeling you really contribute. Is industry your main sector, or will you move into other areas, do you think?
Well, industry has been our enabler, but we're moving into other sectors. I know we announced at our quarterly report here that we've signed a deal with IKEA right now, working with support there. So giving support to consumers and support consumers to build furniture.
We could really need that. Yeah. Anyone who has the experience of IKEA know what we're talking about.
But I mean, it's unlimitless. You can use this as consumer to consumer. I use it at home. You can use it business to consumers or business to business. So anywhere you need enhanced communication, it's available.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And please welcome back on stage Kristofer and Louise, together with Marcin, to continue the discussion a bit further. Is it okay with you guys if we stand?
Sure.
Or would you prefer sitting?
Okay. No, it's okay.
Wonderful. Great.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I would like to start by referring back to the morning session with from Darja, and also the discussion between the corporates about how to integrate the global sustainability goals into their core or their DNA, and also ask you, how do you feel that you can contribute to their future competitiveness what can you bring on to the big corporates, and what do you need from them in order for you to be able to contribute to society? Who would like to start? Small question. Simple answer. Yes.
Yeah, I can go. Starting by the second one, I really like the approach that's been growing now for the last couple of years, where big companies actually try to find collaboration with small companies. And as long as they do this in this healthy way of saying we are collaborating or partnering or in business, we can keep developing in parallel. And I think that will benefit both parties in this case.
So you're stressing the importance of collaborating, so it's a mutual two-way.
And also respecting how you do business. Like you have this individual culture on a small company that is growing, and I think that's good to have because it's power in that. But then you combine this with the big companies who have the infrastructure, they have the standardization, they have the quality aspects of things, and together this forms a really, really strong union, I think, when developing technology out in the industry. And for example, Siemens, we heard here earlier, they had this pop-up expo earlier this year. That was really, really good. And what they did it in the right way, I think, collaborating with Mjärdevi Science Parks, of course, but spending half a day with small companies and their employees to collaborate. It's brilliant. Do it.
Yeah, so there were employees from different parts of R&D collaborating with the smaller startups, so you got different perspectives from Siemens on your solution.
Exactly. So we spent a day there, one of 8 companies, and the result was, I think, 19 project ideas. And then we selected one that we went into business with Siemens with afterwards. And I think this is, if you design this cleverly, you can get this really cool benefit from small and big, when venturing into further business projects.
Wonderful. Louise?
I fully agree. Absolutely. I think that we have not been where we are today if we did not have the collaborations that we've had with Siemens, for example, and with other industries as well. We can develop really cool technology, but if we don't have the possibilities to test it in the real life, at a real company in either project or some kind of test environment, then we will not know the usage of it.
And this collaboration with Siemens that you mentioned, how did that begin? How did you find each other?
Well, it was a perfect match that was supported by Visual Sweden. So it was a fantastic collaboration where we found each other. And that is one excellent way of working, where we have some kind of accelerator or some innovation accelerator that can match either big companies with small companies or put people together to discuss different kind of ideas. And I think that is absolutely a perfect way of starting this off and to see, because you dare to test things, and once you actually get there, the step from starting something is not that big. And you dare to do so because you gain a relationship between the companies.
You need a lot of trust built into...
Well, of course you do, and especially when it comes to the large companies, such as Siemens or Saab or ABB or any kind of large company, because they are massive. You don't know everybody, and you cannot let any company in because you have very sensitive systems or a lot of secrets, and you handle a lot of different things. So it absolutely has to be a mutual trust. But I also think that is something that us smaller companies have something to contribute with, because being fast-paced and being those that can actually execute on those ideas faster than many of the large companies can do, I think we can gain that trust and we can find that kind of co-working relationship and co-creation processes.
So we heard also this morning about the Ignite project, where it's a national project combining the large corporates with the startups. Did any one of you participate in Ignite?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah, we did.
You did?
Yeah, we had a few meetings. It was before I started at Interspectral, but we had a few meetings, but we had not come that far as we have today. So I think that if we would have contributed today in that, it would have gained us a lot more.
Wonderful. So I hope it's a yet and that you will participate, because it's a absolutely fantastic initiative. How did you get contact with IKEA? Did you go down to Älmhult and hello?
Well, no, that's a personal story more.
Okay.
I've been selling for IKEA for like 8 years in different type of companies, so it's more relationships. But the interesting thing with IKEA is their more movement towards AR. I mean, they are one of the first companies out there pushing AR applications with their furniture-based application. But one of the biggest issues they have is all the questions about how to assemble furniture. That's their slogan is being simple, but they have an issue with assembling furniture. So from there to a first type of setup with help desk and production maintenance setup. So we have two really different setups going where we support their production overseas. So they work right now with China, US, Russia, Poland, Portugal, sharing knowledge, creating knowledge sharing in between, and at the same time trying to push a new type of help desk out there for consumers.
And what can IKEA learn you as a smaller company?
Well, I would say they can push the reality of making human business, I would say. How do you contribute to a person, not a company or a market? Because they focus a lot on the person assembling that furniture. Who is that? What type of individual is that? Who will use this type of solution? Not only a service technician or somebody needing help, but that person is a specific person with a specific knowledge. So I think that's one big point where they can contribute to our knowledge and how we should think when we develop our product, our software.
Wonderful to hear. And also IKEA is a good example on a company that is really backing the startup community and doing boot camps and such. And also, of course, bringing funding into the startup community, not buying the companies, but contributing. Wonderful. I would like to give you a compliment on also addressing the global goals as a part of your actual core, your DNA. I thought that was really, really nice. And also about changing the society and bringing the more sustainable solutions. What do you as startups need more from society? We heard about the regulations, policies, and from the business community. What kind of support do you need?
If I start here, I think that somebody clever in the park said, think big but start small. I think we touched on the subject earlier in the talks here, like trying to find a way to how can we actually validate this and test this, perhaps in a limited way, get our hands a little bit dirty, and then quite fast we can get feedback on is this actually solving anything, is this actually working, before we scale it. So having that combination, I think, is a very good way to get the right things out into society. And I think the policymakers and the society should try to embrace or encourage this type of thinking. Like, we can experiment, but limited, and then, if it's successful, we implement.
Are we lacking of those test centers today, you think, or collaboration centers, or?
I think we have good centers, and they're getting more and more accessible, but I'm thinking a little bit with the big companies, same thing here. You see ABB and other companies starting to open up their laboratories a little bit. I see that's actually closer to the reality sometimes than some of our test centers. They are more for research, and I think we need both to actually address these sustainability goals in a hands-on matter.
So, in your opinion, would you do you feel like going off to Västerås to visit with Synelip and ABB on site, or would you also prefer them to come into the community and hang with the startup community and share thoughts?
Both, of course, but if we visit the ABB, for example, that's one way to go into it. But the next step, perhaps going with Siemens out into the field, where they have customers that they have long relationships with, but that trust Siemens. And if you can find that type of dual trust with small companies and long-term customers, because that's very sensitive, I think you can start experimenting with these really critical changes early.
Louise, you were mentioning going to Asia and to the US. What's the problem with Europe?
Oh, it's not a problem with Europe, but we are there. No, absolutely not. I think that Asia is a very important market to us because it's a very new market. And we've recently just discovered a big interest from Asia in many ways, both within education, but also within industry and other areas as well. So for that reason, and the US is very close to us. We have so many customers in the US, and we do work very close with universities and a lot of companies over there in co-creation processes. So for us, it would be a natural step. But also, I believe that if we just come back to the sustainability goals, I think that the biggest impact needs to be addressed in Asia. And we have to see biggest differences in China, for example. Because if we don't pressure that and if we don't support them in their transition, it's going to be, like, we're going to continue this really steep slope down towards the environmental cycle. So I think that for us, if we want to continue working with making an impact on that kind of industries and so on, I think that would be a really big market and with great possibilities.
I love that you're embracing the making an impact on society. China is quite a different market from Europe and also from the US. What do you think will be the greatest challenges for you as a rather young company to try to establish in China, for instance?
Well, it's getting into China. I think if we talk about China specifically, I was in Helsinki to an event prior to Slush in December, and I pitched to a bunch of people from the Shenzhen Stock Exchange and a number of network people in China, only people from China practically, and Helsinki. And they were like, well, very nice pitch, very nice to meet you, but you can absolutely forget to have a business in China if you don't open a subsidiary or if you don't have any kind of partnership or network in China. If you don't go there or if you don't become like a stock exchange company, a registered company, we're not going to help you. You cannot have a market, you cannot have a business in China, which was really, okay, so you invited me over to present this and then you tell me that, no, we're not going to let you in. This is like the end way to this communication. But I also realized that that is the way we have to work. So being able to get into China through either partnerships or having subsidiaries there or hiring people working there would absolutely be a very good way of us to expand, but also to get a hold of that market and to get in. But I think that is the tricky part.
And how do you think the innovation ecosystem can support you on this journey in Sweden and in Europe?
Well, I think that if we look at the innovation system as a big collaboration mess, no, not a mess, but a big collaboration, I think that once again, we have to help each other out. So if you have any connections, you have to be generous. Even the large companies have to be generous with their connections and their businesses and their ways of working. But also when it comes to hiring new recruits, for example, everybody has to chip in and we have to help each other out. And by hiring the right people, you can get a hold of those networks and those ways of working as well. And that is absolutely something that the innovation system can support with.
Yeah, we actually have a representative from Hong Kong here today. So maybe you could help
Hi, Hong Kong.
in the Swedish Fika House. Yes. And what about XM? You entered the stock exchange a few years ago, and you are in the middle of a accelerating phase, scaling your business. What are your biggest challenges ahead?
Well, I will say our biggest challenge is the maturity in the market, trying to move all our clients and companies from experimenting to really pushing it into the market, because we've had a long experimenting session, I would say a year to 2 years right now, with all the biggest companies out there, and proven that it works. It really works. So now we're in like a process to somehow make technicians or professionals want to use this, incorporate it in the core processes, build back office support to support this type of functionality. So that is our biggest issue, really. Looking through companies like Siemens and ABB, yeah, it works, it's proven, but how do we handle it if we released it? So how do we handle 5,000 calls if we release this type of functionality? So that's our biggest challenge right now.
And is there something the innovation support system can do to help you with that, or something else?
I mean, looking to our type of product and where we stand in the market, I think we've gone beyond the innovation step because we've launched our product successfully. It works. We have, I think we have like 98.7% uptime on it worldwide. So we are there. It works. It's proven. It's used by almost 80 customers today worldwide. So our main issue is how do we get, I would say like this, the innovation and the centers needs to work on the relationship and collaboration between professional big companies and innovative small companies, trying to making the experimental stage shorter.
Yeah.
That's the big issue, really.
Yeah, and Kristofer?
My perspective on collaborating with innovation enablers and this kind of technology. When we went to Hanover Fair, for example, we had tremendous use from people knowing us and finding the other ones. It's on? No? It was tremendously valuable for us to having these catalysts, people who knew what we did in Sweden, matchmaking down in Europe with technology clusters, with other companies, and what you call filtering out all the noise. Because that is what these type of innovative environments do. Because when clusters like Mjärvi Science Park and these kind of things understand us, they start opening the right doors for us, but still up to us to do the business. But this saves us so much time and effort to finding the right way into where we actually get stuff working. And I think this is key for sitting in a science park like this to us. It's tremendously valuable.
Wonderful. I think it's working now. Thank you.
Can I add something there?
Yes, of course.
I mean, it's also one more step in the experimental stage when we work with big companies. It's always the innovation centers that drive the collaboration. I think we would gain a lot if all the companies involve business directly, because we most often we end up in an innovation hub, and we don't have the business with us. So after a year, we've seen, okay, it works perfectly. Okay, now we have to talk to business. And they have totally different views on how to use it, what they need to use it, what they have to gain to use it. So I think we need to get closer to the business, to the real business.
Okay. That's a really good point you're making there. How many of you are collaborating with clusters?
Yeah.
All of you?
Yep.
And with the business incubator? How many are sprung from the business incubator? You?
Yeah,
No, you are?
We are.
Yes,
A
you
bit.
are. You are. I know you are. From the research?
Yeah.
You are?
We are.
And you are like...
We're stubborn.
stubborn.
But we were not incubated, but we have had so much use from all the entrepreneurs and business coaches in the ecosystem. Just because we haven't participated in a specific program doesn't mean that we have engaged in a lot of these people getting their advice and trying to digest this into how we should do our business and grow our company.
Yeah. I have to just to add something to that, because we do not have any connections with the incubators, but we've had a lot of help from different kind of initiatives. I mentioned Visual Sweden as one, but the Science Park in Norrköping as well, with Växtzon, or Swedish Scale Up as it's called today. They've helped us in, for example, reaching out in different conferences and that kind of marketplaces where we have had the possibilities to meet with a lot of people, and in other initiatives as well, both growing competence within our team, but also to support us in that kind of initiative. So the ecosystem around us is very important when it comes to being able to get out there and grow.
And since this is almost Christmas, it's April, what would you wish for in the future to support?
From the innovation system?
Yeah.
Well, I have one very big wish, and that is, I heard like the frightening number that 70% of anyone, all the students graduating from Linköping University actually move to other cities because they don't want to work here. And we sit here in this region and we cannot hire people. We want people with that specific competence, but they don't want to stay for many reasons. And one of the reasons is that it's got to do with a lot of societal things. But I think that we can all chip in and we can help out, because there are so many interesting companies here and there are so many things happening in this region that would be very exciting for anyone within IT or similar to that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're mentioning the talent attraction, and I think that we are as dependent on you as businesses to engage in those activities
Yeah.
to support this.
I thought
program.
that beautiful landscape and nature was attraction enough for people to stay, whatever.
So are you going to move here now?
Why are people staying in Linköping?
Because it's too close to Stockholm.
Yep.
And there's a lot of cool
Yeah.
companies in this region, even if it's 30 miles or something like that. It's the same people moving around to these cool companies working with
Yeah.
high tech.
Yeah. But also if you see, for example, the recruitment fairs that have been like very recently, most of the companies there looking for talent is not regional companies. It is companies from Stockholm that are there. So it's really, I
mean,
want to be there. I want to be the one that attracts the people to my company because I need to hire people. But if there is another company in Stockholm that can either pay better or
So this
percent.
morning there was a debate about how can second-tier cities compete with bigger cities in terms of talent attraction.
Yeah.
And somebody said, no problem, people want to come to the beautiful landscape. And I think that might not be exactly enough, with, of course, some exceptions, because this is not only the landscape, it's the brand of Siemens that is
Yes.
attracting
Yeah.
many people.
And
Yeah.
Finspång.
From his
Yeah.
point of view, it does not always work like that.
Okay.
But there are some going to Stockholm and come back 4 years later.
When they have children
When
and
their children want to
families.
have a house and want to work in cutting edge technology.
Yeah.
So but it takes some time.
We have to wait for the second wave.
But
So
we want the
before
first.
wrapping up, is there any questions from the audience that you would like them to answer? Yes, Andre?
Yeah, about the financing of the spin-off or startup. You are a spin-off, I learned, and I guess maybe you are also a spin-off. So who financed your first steps, so the seed phase?
We started with 2 empty pockets and have bootstrapped the entire business, winning the award as Sweden's smartest industry. We did this in collaboration with the industry. So we went out very early with our first versions of this and said, hey, this is first draft. Buy it, buy our time, and we will keep developing these kind of things. So we were lucky to find really good customers in the beginning that saw the benefits from this. And the entire tech stack of our company is built together with our customers in a very sound way. So
I echo him on that. Yeah.
Oh, yep. We started as a research company with FMV here, the Swedish Defense, and went on Nasdaq summer 2017. So we're on Nasdaq right now. We saw that we needed the financing to be able to push this globally, to do it fast enough.
Okay, final question. Okay.
Have universities had anything to do with the development of your technologies, or that was entirely by yourselves and your own human resources?
No, we base on research from the university
Yeah,
when it
we
comes
as
to
well.
visualization research. Yeah.
We as well. So
everybody at our firm has been educated at Linköping University. So we know the math from there, but we purely developed everything after graduating. But we had a lot of discussion with university, but we consider it our own.
And now you're part of a research collaboration at the university? No?
no,
Okay.
Did you get the opportunity to get to have grant from the Innovation Agency or European grants?
Yes, we have. We were just recently awarded a grant from Vinnova of about 2 million to help develop Inside Explorer for education together with a team of 6 schools here in Sweden. And we've also gathered a lot of schools in the US and Australia as well to join in, and in Peru. So
Was it part of a collaborative research program or just?
no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was just a grant that we applied for to develop this. So not part of anything else.
We have not yet, but we're looking into it now for internationalization, because we had solved everything at home here. We have had the customers, the industry. Now we're taking the leap out into Europe. Now we see the more benefits from finding these type of grants, for example.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my wish for Christmas. Keep strengthening the bridges down into Europe now, because it's such a big map just being in Europe for a small company like us. We want to know where are the synergies of the clusters, the companies, Gnusjö in Germany. Where are they? We don't know it from here, and that's what you help us with, I think.
I'm very happy that you mentioned strengthening the collaboration in Europe. I know Europe is quite a fragmentized market and maybe not so easily accessed, like you mentioned earlier, with the language barriers and different regulations. But it's a possibility in the future with a 500 million people digital single market that would be interesting to any startup, I expect. Before wrapping up, what could we do to strengthen collaboration in Europe? Marcin?
Well, it's all about opening communication channels. I mean, for us, especially with our clients, try to trust the collaboration we have and open up for collaborating with your clients. I think that's one of the biggest issues, letting us into their offerings, their discussions.
More meetings, live meetings. Have them come over, sit with us. They are very welcome. Anybody that visits here can come sit with us for half a day to see what we do or get to know us, but also take us with you when you travel out. At least give us the possibility to continue to come with you.
And more hands-on experimenting, open up some of part of the industry to do this type of tech, even if it's in a neighborhood country, because I think we learn so much from going hands-on, testing these new technologies that they have.
Wonderful. I, for one, feel very encouraged and hopeful that the future looks very bright with you driving it further on. So thank you very much. A big applause for the panel. Thank you. Thank you. Great.